To look at the addition of decimals, we're going to start with a real-life example. Let's say that we have Carlos and Sammy running a 30-meter race. Carlos finishes the race in 6.683 seconds, and Sammy finishes the race in 7.202 seconds. And we're asked in our problem to find out how much time Sammy and Carlos took running this race added together. In order to be able to solve a problem like this, we need to know how to add decimals. Let's look at a simpler example, and we'll come back to these bigger numbers later. So let's look at an example of smaller numbers here. We are asked to add together 1.6, a number with a decimal in it, plus 2.2. To solve this problem, what I want to do is line up the numbers vertically. So I'm going to rewrite this as 1.6 plus 2.2. And then we add them very similarly to how we add whole numbers. But we want to make sure that our decimals are lined up. It's very, very important when you're adding decimals that you always line up your decimal point. This is going to tell us then where the decimal point will go in our answer. So I can bring my decimal point, they're lined up right here, and I can bring my decimal point right down here to the answer. So now I just do the math. 6 plus 2 equals 8, and I write it here just like as if I was solving a whole number problem. And 1 plus 2 equals 3, and I write it right here. So 1.6 plus 2.2 equals 3.8. Let's look at another example of adding two decimals together. So I am asked here in my problem to add 11.66 plus 0.462. So I want to start out by putting them vertically. So I'm going to do my 11.66 first. And then I need to here add 0.462. Now remember, it's super important that we add up, or that we line up our decimal points. So before I even write my number, I'm going to come down here and place my decimal point here underneath this decimal point to remember to line them up. And then I write my number. I've got a 0 here before the decimal point, and then 462. So I write my 4, my 6, and my 2. I want to add these two together, so I put my plus sign there and line them up. And then what I'm going to do is right here in this space, I'm going to place a 0. Now, when I place a 0 here at the end of a number with decimals, I'm not changing the value of the number at all. I'm just making it easier for me to add because I want to match up the number of digits after the decimal point in both of my problems, or in both of my numbers. And since this number here had 3 digits after the decimal point, I want to make sure my number up here also has 3 digits after the decimal point. And then once I'm all lined up, I want to take my decimal point where it's at and come down here and put it where it's going to be in my answer. And that helps me not forget to place a decimal point in my sum. And then, now that I've got it all ready, I just do the math as if I were adding two whole numbers together. So I add my 2 and 0 here. I add my 6 plus 6 is 12. So I put my 2 here and carry the 1. I add 6 plus 4 plus 1 is 11. So I put my 1 here and carry the 1. I add 1 plus 1 and bring it down here. Now I'm in the ones place on this side of the decimal point. And then my 1 here from the 11, and I bring, oops, I didn't add these two together. So I do my 1 plus 1 is 2. So now I'm in the ones place on this side of the decimal point, and then I bring my 1 down from here. So my answer is 12.122.